Hi there and welcome to Yogaphysiozone, and I am Sinead. Hopefully you've met me before. So today I'm going to give a little bit of a tutorial on how to mind your neck when you are doing yoga. So lots of us spend a fair bit of time in front of the computer, or in fact most of our activities are activities that involve, being forwards, looking down or looking forwards. So the impact on our neck is actually huge. And even just stuff like carrying children, carrying all the kind of accoutrements that go with babies and all of that, just life, okay, can affect our necks. So it shouldn't stop you from doing yoga unless you've an incredibly troublesome neck that really needs some therapeutic intervention. But let's say you've just got a niggly one or whatever, as long as you know how to mind it and how to adjust the poses for you, it shouldn't stop you doing yoga. And in fact, yoga can actually strengthen it if you adhere to certain kind of, I suppose, shall we call them rules, but just, I suppose, guidelines in terms of what's the best thing to do in certain situations. So just to go through a very quick run through of neck and neck posture. Now posture is very, I suppose it's controversial at the moment, because there's lots of people who would say that there's no evidence that posture can cause, or bad posture can cause pain. And that is true, but in practice, we physiotherapists and other people who do work on bodies do find that it's a factor in pains sometimes. So let's just look, I want you to look sideways at my neck. And just what I want to point out to you is that when you have a kind of a slouchy posture, or you spend a lot of time in this, what it does is it pokes your chin forwards. Okay, the chin is poking forwards. It puts a lot of compression at the top of my neck, and it puts a lot of stretch at the bottom of my neck, where that bone is there, that bone that kind of sticks out when we look forwards. And so that's one kind of type of problem. And in fact, this kind of neck posture is something that we see a lot in people who have long-term neck problems, okay? Not exclusively, but it is something we see, and by changing that or improving that, it does seem to impact positively on neck pain. So just be aware of that. That might be something that you mightn't be as bad as what I'm showing you, but there might be a little bit where you're out of alignment. So there is that. There's also the whole thing of texting and all of that. We're looking down a lot, putting a lot of stretchy kind of an impact on the base of our neck here, kind of around C7, T1. So that can have its own problems. But again, just back to this slouchy posture, right? What I want you to watch now, I'm going to change my lower back. I'm not going to try and kind of straighten my neck or anything like that. I'm just going to change what my lower back is doing. So I'm just kind of going to round and make myself a little bit archy there. Do you see what that does to my neck? All right, it automatically puts my neck in a better position. And also my shoulder blades, you will have seen when I went from this position, my shoulder blades are, and my kind of shoulders are kind of forwards and curvy. And if I change what's happening here, it automatically puts my shoulder area in a better position. And what happens with your shoulders affects your neck hugely. The reason I'm pointing this out to you is if you have a long-term niggly neck, what you need to look at is strengthening your lower back and your shoulders as well. And yoga can do that for you. So maybe trying to do some of the exercises, and I have a yoga video on lower back exercises, and I've one for shoulders as well. Not all of them will be suitable, but even some of those exercises to strengthen those areas will help with your neck. But let's talk now about how to protect yourself when you're in certain postures, or what you should look out for. So I'm going to get you to watch me just when I'm lying down. So a lot of the poses when you're lying down, it could be stretching. So let's just do this stretch for a minute. So when I'm stretching my knee up towards my neck, if I have tight neck muscles, what tends to happen is my chin will poke up like that, okay? And I'll be compressing the muscles at the back of my neck. So any of the lying down poses, if you can try and tuck your chin in, so keep your chin not up like that, but actually down, and even just not too far down looking down, but actually just trying to keep your chin kind of in a neutral position. And you'll find, for example, when you bend up here, it'll want to come up, but make your chin and your neck your priority, and then only do the stretch for your lower back in so much as you can keep your chin in a nice neutral position, because the lying down poses are actually really safe for your neck, unless you're going to do a shoulder stand or a plow, which is a different matter. I'm not going to talk about the advanced poses, but suffice it to say, oh, I sounded like a teacher there, didn't I? Just if you, now I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, if you can kind of keep your neck in a reasonable position when you're doing these poses, well then the rest, you know, eventually, if you work on some of the lower level poses, eventually you might be able to consider doing some of the higher levels. So I won't go into those in this video, I'll go into those in a future one. So in the lying down poses, keep your chin tucked in. So in other words, it's not up like that, you're tucking it in like that, okay? The other important thing in the lying down poses as well is try not to have your shoulders hunched up like that, okay? So people with poor necks, often because they're trying to protect their neck, they'll put their shoulders up like this, and it kind of gives their neck some bit of protection and relief, okay? When you're lying down, your neck should be in a nice protected position. And in fact, sometimes if people have a very poked forward head, I will say to them, just put a small pillow in the lying down poses. If it makes it more comfortable for you, have a small pillow under your neck, and then eventually you'll be able to do without the pillow as you get better stretching in your muscles. But also when you're doing the lying down poses, keep the shoulders away from your ears. Walk your shoulders away from your ears and walk them down towards your ankles and shimmy them around, and then try and hold that position. So those lying down poses are really, really good. So, you know, it could be that you're doing a stretching pose or you're rotating. Again, try and keep your chin tucked in and keep your shoulders away from your ears. Could be like something like that, and then you have to twist your head. So in all poses, particularly if there is a twisting involved, only twist as far as where is comfortable. As I keep on saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, and do the pose in whatever way is comfortable for you. And that is the beauty of online classes, is you're not looking at what the person next to you is doing and getting to feel bad about yourself, or you're not getting competitive with your body. You can purely focus on yourself. So that is kind of the lying down poses. Just go as far as where you feel a nice stretchy sensation. You know, don't ever push into pain, and that has to be your guide, okay? Now, the next kind of area where I often feel people with bad necks kind of, you know, might have challenges is kind of in the poses where you're on your hands and your knees, so in all fours, or in the ones where you're down kind of on your tummy. Let's start with these ones first of all. So let's say, for example, Sphinx pose. So here I am in Sphinx pose. People with poor necks often find, okay, so if they're meant to look forward in the Sphinx, that's often really, really compresses their neck and they just can't do it, okay? There's a couple of things there, right? First of all, if you shimmy your shoulders away from your ears, okay, and get your shoulder blades down your back and away, it'll give a little bit of length to this part of your neck. So you might find that helps. However, still a lot of people have difficulty looking forwards. So I would say just keep your chin tucked in, just keep your chin tucked in, just keep your chin tucked in. If you need to tuck it right in, and if you need to look down like that, whatever feels comfortable for you. Or you might find that you can do this just for a couple of seconds, and then it starts to hurt. So then you go back down, take a rest, wait for the yoga video to move on to the next pose. But you'll find that your tolerance will improve. So keeping the chin tucked in protects it from this kind of position where you're actually really compressing the joints at the base of the skull, and also some of the joints a little bit lower down as well. Okay, so keep your chin tucked in, or maybe, as I said, contract your shoulders a little bit more. By strengthening the shoulders, you protect your neck. So really in these positions, work on strengthening the shoulders, really engaging the shoulders, bringing the shoulder blades down your back. It's the same for the Cobra, this kind of a pushing up like this. You have to position your neck in such a way that it's not hurting. So if you need to keep looking down and not looking up, so be it, okay? The day will come when you may be able to look up. Maybe you won't, okay? But just adjust for whatever way is comfortable for you. But keeping in mind in all of these that you want to be engaging, you want to be feeling your shoulders working. All of these poses on your tummy, well, most of them anyway, do involve a fair bit of shoulder activity. Now by shoulder, I mean the backs of the shoulders, the shoulder blades. That's really important for people with poor necks, okay? Now let's come up onto all fours, and it's the same thing. So a lot of the poses here activate your arm muscles and your shoulder muscles, and that is really important for people with poor necks. If you activate the shoulder and the shoulder blade muscles, you will be hopefully strengthening those muscles and taking some of the pressure off your neck as well in these poses. So let's talk about being on all fours, and I usually kind of go through this individually when I'm actually doing the poses, but you're putting your weight on the bases of your hands there, on the bases of your fingers. You can claw the mat a little bit. The most important bit is you roll your shoulders around. Roll the arms around so that the creases are facing forwards. What this does is it actually gets these muscles here activated, okay? They are really important for protecting your neck. So if you're in that position, then you're not kind of hanging down like that. Now, if you really find, okay, you might, often people with poor necks are really, really weak in their arms and they're not even aware of it. So again, you might have to work up your tolerance for doing these poses. You might find that they're quite difficult for you to do in the beginning, and that it's easier to do them the wrong way. So like, well, I'm saying wrong, okay, but you know, so it might be easier to do with your head stuck out like that. But try and work towards being able to do it with the arms straight, the shoulder creases facing around, and tucking your chin in, okay? Now that can be quite hard to hold for people with poor neck strength, so you might need to take little breaks, let your head drop down, relax, and then coming to do it again and trying to tuck your chin in. That's quite a strong strengthening one for the muscles at the back of the neck as well as the shoulders. So your tolerance for that won't be great straight away. So as I said, if you need to take a break, and let's add in, let's say you're doing tiger curls with these. So you might find, look, really you can't hold the arms in that position at the same time as doing that because it's just too much for your neck. So again, keep your neck down. If you need to, keep your neck down, looking through. Or sometimes what I get people to do, if they have a low poof or something they can rest their head on, that you can actually keep your head rested on something while you were actually doing these poses, all right? And I forgot a low stool to show you, but you get the idea. You would have a low stool or a poof and you would actually have your head resting on it, okay? So there's lots of different ways you can adjust these, but the main thing is that you gradually get to strengthening up the arms without straining the neck, and that takes time. Please be patient with that. It will benefit your neck, but you just have to go easy when you're starting out. Once you have your strength up a little bit, most of these poses will become available to you. And you know, just keep the chin tucked in, or you can leave it out a little bit, whatever feels comfortable for you. Let's just talk about downward dog, because it is a pose that is often required as you kind of improve your level of yoga. You'll be using it more. So we're just going to step one hand's breadth forwards, and we're in downward dog. So we're pushing into the hands and feet, and then we're pushing the bum away from the shoulders and dropping the heels. Now again, in those kind of positions, again, if you feel that you're more comfortable with your head drop down and just dropping the head and relaxing it, that's fine. You should be okay actually in these kind of positions. What might be difficult is for some poses then you'll be required to look forwards. So you just have to gauge that yourself, maybe look forwards a little bit, maybe as you step forwards. But again, those kind of ones, you need to have worked up a little bit of neck strength before you do those. So really working on the hands and the knees on some of those poses first of all will really help you with some of the more advanced ones. So the last bit I want to talk about is standing poses and how you can protect your neck when you're doing standing poses. And what I am going to say to you is that the best way you can protect your neck when you're doing standing poses is by getting your base correct, okay? Going back to the start of this video where I was talking about how your back and your shoulder position impacts on your neck. In the same way, if you get things right down here, you're better positioned up here to be able to protect your neck and to put it in its optimal position. So for example, warrior two, so I'm standing with my right leg facing forwards in a bent position. My left foot is facing the side. What I'm trying to do is get my base right here. So when you watch my videos, I'll be giving you all these cues like, you know, where to put your feet, tucking your bum in, getting your lower belly up towards your belly button. All those things position your core correctly. And if you have your core correctly, and then you've got your shoulders away from your ears and your arms out, your neck is ideally placed in that position. You don't have to do a whole lot more. What you might find yourself doing is maybe adjusting your chin a little bit, either up or down for comfort. But if you can get everything else really, really engaging and working correctly, then your neck should actually be in an okay position for that. It gets a bit more complex in other poses. So for example, in the crescent pose, where you are facing forwards and you've got one leg behind, let's say your left leg, your right leg forwards. And some of these poses ask you to look upwards, okay? So what I would say to you is, if it makes it difficult for your neck, just don't, okay? Well, again, get your base right. Get your, get your thighs squeezed together. Get your lower belly pulled up towards your belly button. Pull up on the pelvic floor. All those things will actually allow your core to work really strongly. So by the time you come to lifting your hands, that really feels that you're in full control. And again, you can keep looking down if you want to. But then when you feel, yeah, I've got this, you can kind of play around. Ooh, you can see the way that affects my balance. But you can play around with looking upwards. And again, find a friendly wall to practice near if you want, so that you can kind of get the rest of you well positioned. And then you might find, yeah, I'm okay with looking upwards in that position. See what feels good for you. Equally, just one more, when you are doing, for example, triangle pose, and in this position, got our right leg forwards, going to drop the right hand down the shin, left leg upwards. So the head is kind of in an unsupported position. Now I find it quite comfortable just to let my head drop, and usually that is quite a comfortable position. Again, if you get your base right, your head should be in a comfortable position. Now, if you find you're more comfortable looking down, that's fine. The pose calls for you to look upwards, but that can be quite challenging for some people. So again, just play around with what feels comfortable for you. And again, you can always do it against a wall to get the rest of your body feeling that you're good and supported, and then play around with your neck. So always keep your neck in a kind of a reasonably comfortable position, and you can play around with with whatever position feels the best for you. So hopefully that'll allow you to follow some of the other classes that I have online, and indeed other online classes with whatever teacher, but that you'll know how to adjust things for your own level and for your neck. So best of luck with that. Talk soon.